Hello there, my name is Ayensi Bernal and welcome to my final key activity of philosophical thinking. Let's start by the concept itself from which everything I'll be talking about is based on philosophy, from the Greek words philolog and sophia wisdom, which literally means love for wisdom and it's a systemized discipline that is in a constant pursuit of knowledge and obviously requires of critical thinking. Now, I think that everyone has their own philosophy of life that is the basis for their motivations and how they act on a daily. However, I also believe that we tend to forget about it and just sort of live on autopilot, forgetting what the true point of it all is. Which is why I think it is useful to remind ourselves sometimes that we're not sure why we're here in the nature of our reality, because that is what allows us to question what our goal is and check if we're on the right track to it, which ultimately leads to the flourishing and improvement of it all. So, in this break, I'll be reflecting about a philosophy of my own and its different branches in search of understanding what the point of my life is and how I can get there. So, without further ado, let's get started. The first branch, and from where everything else sort of departs from, metaphysics, the questioning of existence, being, and reality. It's the beginning of time the human being has to endure the process of living and the whole world of experiences that come with it, such as pain and death. And exactly those experiences are what tend to make us consider the true meaning of our existence. Then what is it really and why is it like that? For me, it was almost impossible to grasp the idea that we are where we are right now just by a simple coincidence. This is where my idea of something bigger than us, a god, a force, is what definitely put us into this place for us to reach an ultimate goal. And when I say God, I am not exactly talking about the one that the Catholic Church describes, but more of a someone or higher consciousness that cannot be grasped by our senses, that puts us in this place to give a meaning and purpose to our wild existence. About what the purpose is, I am not sure. But I like to think that by acting good, loving, and reflecting on ourselves is how we raise our consciousness and can reach the same level as that someone or something that God is. Even though when I say it out loud it sounds kind of nuts, it allows me to have some peace and hope that there is something more than this awaiting for us. Now, when talking about the origin of the universe, we can find that over time, different versions of it have emerged, some of which based on religion and others on science. However, I think I see it more as a mixture of both, because for me, the scientific theories of evolution, the Big Bang, make a lot of sense. But I also think that the matter and energy from which everything else started must have been placed there in the first place for everything else to arise. Because, for example, models like the Big Bang only go so far, and many fundamental mysteries remain, like what was the universe like before it was expanding? That's where my belief of a greater power, a God starting it all, and giving us a motive once again enters the picture. Because it must have been something, a simple miracle from which everything else came from to begin with. And lastly, about the nature of our reality. I would like to think that every single one of us has the ability to make decisions that change the direction of our future and therefore of the universe. But sadly, there is nothing that confirms this for me. And it could be that since the beginning of all, everything is predetermined and there is no room for change, just like permanently stated. Still, that theory makes me hopeless. I choose to believe that our free will is real and behave as if it truly was, even though we may never find out. This goes hand in hand with my decision to support the theory of forms proposed by Plato, since it says that our world made of matter ultimately seeks to achieve the beauty and perfection of a superior world made out of idea forms. This giving me and all of those who choose to believe in this too something else to inspire and grab ourselves to. Because I see it as exactly what I said before, that they are here with the purpose of reaching a higher and better consciousness, call it a God, but our constant improvement and mistakes that are part of free will but allows us to better ourselves. And our second branch, ethics. So, is it good or is it bad? Discussing about whether a situation, a certain someone they should be considered correct or not, is what we know as ethics, derived from the Greek word ethos, which means way of living. A branch of philosophy that is concerned with human conduct and more specifically, the behavior of individuals in a society, which is only possible because us, as collective human beings, consciously decide to search for a purpose and agree that to have a better world, we must take responsibility for our beliefs and our actions. This happened a long time ago, and we can find that different theories have emerged since, but today we are going to be reviewing only the ones that I consider fit the best in my own personal philosophy. So, let's start by discussing my own view of ethics. I say that we live in a wonderful world that has lots to offer and that we share with a lot of people. That the best way to take advantage of it is by searching for the perfect balance of caring and sharing, so that we do not end it and can live harmoniously as a society. And so we have free will, as I like to think, then we are doomed to make some mistakes. But that is what ultimately leads us to improve ourselves and therefore the whole world. And the philosophers I can relate these to are, as you can see, Socrates, because he believed that true understanding were the most important things in the world, and that wrongdoing comes from ignorance, but that can be fixed by caring for your soul and knowing yourself. Both teachings that I totally connect my personal view of ethics too, about caring about what we do and how we do it and bettering ourselves after our mistakes. And can actually use my own life as an example of. Because most of the setbacks that I have had in my life have came from a place of ignorance, from not seeing the whole picture or simply not knowing how to proceed. But fits by examining myself and ask, how can I improve my actions so that my goals can be accomplished? Secondly, Aristotle, because of his term eudaimonia, they say that all humans should aim for as it is the golden end of human existence, true happiness derived from a life of activity governed by reason, that can be accomplished by doing the right thing, at the right time, in the right way, at the right amount, or at the right people, which is called being virtuous and can be learned through experience as if it becomes your nature. Which honestly fits right in with my view, because like I said, the best way to take advantage of life is by searching for the perfect balance of caring and sharing, which is exactly what I mentioned before is all about, and just makes so much sense. Because if we were to live in a world without restrictions, then we would not have a harmonious coexistence or purpose at all. And it is not about describing emotions, but to learn how and when to use them. And it is in every sense, like in school. I want to be a good student, so I shall not be completely careless or obsessed, but responsible, leaving space for other activities to happen. Lastly, Siddhartha Gautama, Buddha the Enlightened One, who believed suffering was caused by uncertainty, karma, ignorance, and selfishness, but it can gladly be ended with an enlightened living, which he created an eightfold path for, and is all about prajna wisdom, sila ethics, and samadhi mind that I also connect to since it gives someone a path but not an obligation, which is very beneficial. Because like I said, if we have free will, then we have different personalities and we have different lives. So there is no certain rule that could give us all a perfect behavior. However, a path that guides us to our potential growth and the root of our suffering so that we can stop it from there is perfect and allows acceptation and harmony to finally come. And onto the third branch, epistemology, the one that studies the origin, nature, methods, quality, and limits of human knowledge. It is the explanation of how we think and just that we need to use and obtain knowledge around the world that surrounds us. And without it, we will have no reason to believe our thinking was productive or correct to promote our lives and goals. So why don't we focus first into what we need in order to thrive and the aim of belief? Truth. I would say that truth is better off being objectivist. This is because in this side we can consider the idea that societies are capable of creating key moral principles in a consistent and uniform manner. And this will save us from many contradiction dilemmas, and it also gives us space to try to get to the bottom of things, and therefore practice philosophy, and therefore practice human improvement. Like, what has to be done when something is super bad in my culture but pretty normal in another one? Is it accepted or not? Or if there's a dolphin and Maria thinks a dog, that is a perception of truth. But is it truly correct? But let's not be confused. This by no means at all indicates that we should be judgmental of what other beliefs that does not resonate with us, because we are all fallible and we should always be open to revision in the light of new evidence. And now onto knowledge, from what we believe and our ultimate goal. I believe that we can get knowledge from absolutely everything in this world, and that we get it as we discover, explore, and think about everything that it has to offer us. Therefore, I could say that it comes from empiricism, Hume's theory, that says that knowledge comes from experiences, especially the ones which comes from ourselves, that we learn with our five senses. And as he knows that we mix emotions with perceptions, we must always remember to take evidence into account. Also, I would like to add that I resonate with the non-Western epistemology of Hinduism, that believes in Brahman and Atman, that say that collective life happens by uniting all individual lives, so everything is connected. And lastly, aesthetics, the branch that deals with the nature of expression of beauty, that studies art and the way in which it expresses our surroundings. But what is beauty, what is ugly, and what is art? Well, the concept of beauty has always been one of the most difficult to define, and of course there are factors that help decide whether or not something is beautiful, such as order, symmetry, union of opposites, and light. But at the end, it is still quite subjective. For me, everything in this world has beauty and ugly within it. But if I had to begin a definition or relate it to something, I would say that the things that are beautiful are the ones that make you feel a rush of love, calm, or excitement, like flowers, the sea, a good hug, or a nice smile. And actually, something that I feel quite often would be Edmund Burke's definition of sublime, that nice feeling that makes you feel insignificant when considering all the beauty beyond ourselves. And as for ugly, I would say that it is what causes pain, but it is a natural part of life and of course changes of significance between people because of subjective nature, just as beauty. And lastly, art, a way to communicate ideas by creating a sense of beauty and generating strong emotions. For this one, I would definitely have to agree with Aristotle, who said it helps our body experience all emotions that we have not done in a while and makes us feel a pleasant relief that he called catharsis. Because it has happened to me, and I think almost everyone. But for example, sometimes I might be feeling down and just can't get out of it. So by watching a sad movie and crying for a little while, I feel as if I have gotten the sadness out of me and automatically feel better. And also with Collingwood, because I do believe we can separate art. Like sometimes you just use it as entertainment and distraction from life, nothing too serious. Maybe watching a sitcom to fall asleep after a hard day, which is amusement art. But also sometimes we use magic art that we search for when we're looking for a meaning or purpose to help us get through life, which I have also totally done. Like searching in a song for lyrics to empower yourself after a hard time. And I would like to end this saying I am so grateful to have had an amazing class and teacher that introduced me to all of these amazing branches and what is philosophy. Because here I am now finally completing a part of my philosophy of life, according to what I think, have heard, seen, and lived, touching branches such as metaphysics, ethics, epistemology, and aesthetics, agreeing with some of the most antique and wise philosophers that have paved the way for us to question life in every single one of its aspects, such as Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, Buddha, Hume, Collingwood, among others. That helped me bring light to the fact that I think we are part of something much bigger that we can understand by a God, that the balance and overcoming ignorance is key for the world, and that we can all have the impact for it because of our free will. That I am more of an empiricist and objectivist, and that I do believe in the power of art, among so many other things. That leaves me hanging and just hungry for more answers that can help me flourish and grow in this crazy ride that is life. And that is all for now. Thank you.